Okay, guys, we're live. It says YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. Zoc. I don't know what's going on. Looks okay though, so you tell me if the video is okay because YouTube is giving me an error message in here, which I think we can kind of ignore. You know, what's happened now is with school back in business, schools back, the internet is slow again. So let me just check to make sure. Yep, this is my Wi-Fi. It says I have poor streaming, poor, loud and clear. It says here poor, stream status poor. So you tell me. So am I not getting 4K? Because that's sending in a 4K signal. And I'm not getting any errors on OBS. It's sending, sending 4K. So EMP on the way. Okay, so it seems good. Okay, so we're getting zucked by YouTube here. It's just faking me out here because I'm sending 4K out. And it likes it because it's taking the 4K, and yeah, I'm streaming a lot here. Yeah, so it's good. Okay, guys. Yes, I did have adult beverages. James Mason as usual because it's Friday, and on Friday I have adult beverages before I do my live stream. Why? Because I've always done it over the years, and might as well continue even post COVID. I'm still or during COVID, I'm still doing that. NVIDIA 3090 now allows 8K viewing. So are you watching me in 8K? I don't think YouTube allows 8K. YouTube only goes up to 4K, but they do. And I'm actually curious about anyone watching my live stream in 4K, because then you can see every freckle on my face. So that's a problem with 4K is, it's like I gotta like step back. Too close to the camera. Too close to the camera. Anyway, my topic today is several topics, so I want to talk about a few of them. And one of them is that this thing about Snowden. And what triggered this topic is that some appeals court, some court of appeals, I don't know from where, but some court of appeals actually ruled that the NSA's tracking of phone calls of every American is illegal. Illegal. So that was called the PRISM program. So the NSA has many programs, and one of them is PRISM. And some of the other ones actually allow the NSA to listen into whatever you put in social media on Facebook and Yahoo and so on, Microsoft. And some of it allows them to listen into Skype and, some of it allows them to get into Apple. So that's some of the programs that they have. And PRISM is one of them, which tracks your phone calls. And which is funny because that's one of the main things that Snowden actually revealed was that the NSA was tracking every phone call made by every American. And the excuse was that, hey, we're not looking at it. Actually, that's not true. They were looking at it. And then Obama came in and said, well, we're going to change that. And then Obama lied because he said, well, we don't actually look at your data. We don't actually look at it. So no, we don't spy on. We don't do mass surveillance. I mean, this is the problem, guys. It's lie after lie. Politicians lie. I don't care what side you're on. They're all zucking the same. All of them. If you're like so hung up on politics, I'm going to tell you right now that I feel sorry for you if you are into one side or the other, because they're all the same. They're all fake. And Obama actually said with straight face that the NSA does not actually read your data. And but what they're actually saying is this, and if you actually parse the words, he wasn't lying. What he actually said was, what actually meant was, yes, the NSA collects all data. It's mass surveillance, so they collect every phone call and every message and everything that you do on the internet. They can play back the internet, basically. So if they want to track you, they'll just say, okay, let's play back the internet at that moment and see what actually happened. And they store this data at the Utah data center in Utah. That's a big data center for the NSA. And so they actually say, well, we don't actually look at it. Well, as Snowden revealed, yes, they collect the data, and in theory, you have to get permission to actually look at the data. So they collect it, and you have to get some sort of permission to look at it. And the Snowden movie, if you watched it, actually showed that all they do is say, well, you're associated with a foreign person, in which case then we can go look at your data because part of the FISA Act, we can look at anything that has to do with any foreign person. So let me just tell you the lie, and this is part of it that was shown in the Snowden movie and the book, is that if the NSA wants to go justify looking at their girlfriends or their relatives or their enemies on the NSA system, all they have to do is justify that they're connected to some foreign person. Well, unfortunately, we all are. There's no escaping this because it depends on the degree of separation. So if somebody says, we have the authority to listen to anyone with up to 3 degrees of separation from a foreign person. So now, what does that mean? So in the Snowden movie and his memoirs and what was published in the press, the way the story goes is that a Saudi banker was the one being tracked. So all they had to do was say, who are the friends of the banker? And the banker, of course, is a banker, so deals with all these people, thousands of people in the banking business. Then they said, who are the friends of those people? That's 2 layers of separation. And then who are the friends of those friends? And by the time you get to that, you're into the millions and millions of Americans. By the time you get to 4 levels of separation, that's every single one of us. So, yeah. So you can see the lie there, because they actually are like, who polices the police? So if the police, and I don't mean the real police, but the NSA, who polices them? Who actually makes sure that they're following the rules? And that's what was shown in the Snowden movie, is that any one of them can come up with an excuse because there's no one actually checking on what they do. So at that level of procedure, down to the individual query, nobody really does anything. So in which case they get away with anything because it's top secret. You can't even bring them to court and say you were looking at data that you're not supposed to, because the court will call it top secret. This is why they can't even bring Snowden to trial, because if they do, they're going to say, well, everything is top secret, so we'll just put you in jail. So anyway, that's the story that Snowden revealed. And for someone like me who's into privacy, the revelations of Snowden were things that I suspected all along, but I didn't have proof. And if I came in here on a broadcast and said that these are the things, the mass surveillance things that are happening in the United States and in many countries in the world, including especially all the Five Eyes, and obviously it happens in Russia and China. But if you think that just because you're in a democratic country that there's some sort of exemption, not true. So just about every country who has any kind of resources is spying on their citizens. Snowden is now basically in exile because of those revelations, and basically he's been called a criminal because of it. And what's interesting is that he claimed that revealing all that was part of his patriotism because he could not accept the fact that the NSA was doing things that he felt was against the law. That's why he was a whistleblower. And then every presidential candidate or president would say, well, we need to put, Snowden in jail. And that includes every candidate, and even from Obama to Clinton to Trump. Everyone said that they want to put Snowden in jail. And now the Court of Appeals of the United States said, hey, the activities of the NSA, particularly with this specific one, which is collecting all the phone records, is illegal. So now that proves that Snowden was actually right. So now I'm like wondering to myself, that's very interesting, because the guy's in exile for revealing all this, because they said, well, he's revealing U.S. secrets, and his justification was the NSA was going against the law, and now the courts of the United States now agree. So that's very funny. That's very funny. I'm like curious of, if that's going to get into whoever becomes president next, if they're going to think about it and say, that's very interesting. Maybe we judged this wrong, because apparently it is illegal to spy on American citizens, which we already know. We already know that, but they still do it. They still do it, and they come up with various excuses. One of the things that I'm going to tell you is very funny is they actually say, we don't record your phone conversations. We don't record your phone conversations, because especially if U.S. citizens, they can record conversations of foreign people, or if you are talking to a foreign person, they can record your conversation in theory. But in theory, they don't record, they say, conversations of U.S. people. And again, another lie, because the fact of the matter is they do what is called voice fingerprinting. So the voice print, which Snowden talked about on Twitter, so they said, look, they do this, they do voice prints. And not that Snowden is always accurate. Sometimes, I don't, some of his newer stuff may not always be accurate, because he's no longer in there. But voice printing, they can actually go to court and say, hey, we don't voice print you. And the reason is, and I read some of the explanations given, is that they actually distance themselves from some of the spying by having private enterprise do the spying, and then they just pay the private enterprise, Amazon, Google, and they say, well, those companies are recording the stuff, doing facial recognition, doing the voice printing, and we just partake. We rent their data, because we're not doing it. Then they can't be held to be doing it against the law. So unfortunately, this is what's happening today, and we don't realize this, that we just live our lives, thinking that's all about being popular, having lots of friends on Zucking Zuckbook, and that's our lives, and we actually don't understand what's happening with even things like mass surveillance. So mass surveillance is tied to, of course, my last video, which was about facial recognition. That's all connected. And one of the examples I gave was, and this is true because it was actually, it's again something that I already knew, but it was kind of nice to get it confirmed in the press, even by media that I don't expect to cover this. Well, the LA Times actually covered the story about Palantir. So Palantir is and maybe because Palantir is owned by Peter Thiel, and Peter Thiel is of course on the right, and the LA Times is on the left, so it makes sense that they would pick that topic. So anything to defame Peter Thiel would be good for the LA Times, given the kind of demographics we have today. But the funny thing is, and that aside, because I don't really care about the politics, but it's very interesting because Palantir, which is amazingly, powerful, Palantir collects all of our data. I'm not even sure who has more data, the NSA or Palantir. So Palantir was used by the LA PD to actually collect, data on every Angelino, any person from Los Angeles, and track our movements. And based on that data, they actually identified people in gang areas and identified some potential gang members, and the police then would go and harass these young people on the streets, even if they haven't committed a crime, just because of what the Palantir pre-crime has indicated. And this is really disturbing because, of course, pre-crime, you haven't done anything. So you're being accused by a zucking computer. A computer is making an assumption, like the Minority Report. It's already happening in Los Angeles. We're doing Minority Report here in LA. And, pre-crime, and there's an article in there that discussed by the persons being harassed in some of these areas like Compton, and being harassed simply because the AI is determined that they have the potential to become gang members, even though they haven't committed any crime, they've never been arrested. There's nothing that indicates that they're actually criminals, except that the gang members are either family members or maybe they live in the area, so they're known to associate with them because they live in the same area. So that really bothers me because, again, this is to be judged to be a certain way by a computer. Maybe there's justification for what they do, but it really bugs me, and I really hope that when people discuss about police defunding, that they're not talking about, and I hope they're not talking about taking police away from doing the normal things that they do here in LA, which is dangerous enough. LA is a dangerous place, but certainly a big budget of the LAPD, because the LAPD, it's a big organization, a big budget of it is spent on Palantir. So I hope that the LAPD decides, I guess we need money for the police, the actual policemen, and maybe we'll cut out the funding for Palantir. Because zuck that. Zuck the Palantir. Just the idea of anyone, by the way, Palantir is hired by financial firms, like one of the biggest clients of Palantir is Chase. So, what is Chase researching? They're researching our behavior, and from that, they're trying to profit financially from our behavior, even in the stock market. They're trying to do that from our profiles and manipulate us, and it just disturbs me that we allow this, and that is partly what happens with companies like Palantir. So this is just really bothersome. In any case, back to what I'm saying about Snowden. It's really funny because what do you do now when you're calling the guy a criminal and a traitor and everything else? You kicked him out and you want to arrest him, and then the United States Court of Appeals say that he's correct. The NSA was doing something illegal. Just wondering, something to think about. I don't know what the answer is, but you should think about that. I don't know. Okay? If the Second Amendment was followed, most people would be very polite. Let me just tell you something. This is YouTube. You do not talk about... We're not in a free country. You do not talk Second Amendment on for those of you who are not from the U.S., the Second Amendment has to do with... I don't even have my prop anymore. Because YouTube made a rule that you cannot even use props. Because I had a prop that was a weapon, and I don't even have that prop anymore. Because if I used it, YouTube would ban me. Okay, so there you go. So somebody's dictating all that. So fortunately, I don't have to talk about that. You can kind of guess. So anyway, to be banned from even using it as a prop. So I respect those who are for and against, but I'm using it as a prop, for goodness sakes. I can't even have a prop. So clearly stated in the terms of use. So not even as a prop. I'm not even going to say what it is. You have a cannon on the boat. It is legal to have it on the boat, yes. So let me see here. Okay, so anyway, the next thing I want to talk about is, as you know, my last video was about facial recognition. And we let facial recognition kind of, go rampant here, and it's out of control. And now we're left in a position where if you watch the full video, the video actually said at the very end, many of you didn't finish. You didn't go to the very, very end. And at the very, very end, I said, there is no technological solution. Unfortunately, there is no way to stop it. If they want to do it, they can do it. Even if you cover your face and they switch over to infrared, we are zucked because, this is your biometric that you can't correct. So unfortunately, that's, if they can't do 2D facial recognition, they can go 3D with infrared, in which case hiding it with inanimate objects like, a mask, this is not going to help. Not going to help. Okay? Sunglasses not going to help. As you know, the iPhone can look at that. Can go through that, because infrared will only take the heat and will be coming from your body. So we're kind of zucked with that. If they do contour mapping 3D with infrared, there's really nothing we can do about it. And one of the things that we don't realize, and it's really unfortunate that this generation, and I give you the reason why it happened, this generation just doesn't look at this as being a significant issue. And now it's come to the point where the chip cannot be undone. How do you deal with facial recognition? There actually is no solution. Aside from maybe wearing an electronic face where the mask itself emits radiation of some sort, like infrared. And that's probably the only way to do it, is to have some electronic device that distorts your face. But in the absence of any device, any typical covering, from hats to sunglasses and bandanas and baklavas and things like that, it isn't gonna do anything. So that's the problem that we're facing, is there's no solution. So yes, I try to evade it right now in LA, and some of you made a comment of how I evaded, but the fact of the matter is that's not a very good evasion, because those are the cameras I know. What about the cameras I don't know? So we're kind of stuck, and we let this happen, and they're collecting this data on facial recognition, and 40 years from now, 20 years from now, the young people will be the older generation, and they will have all this data collected about them, including the facial recognition, and then no escape. So now the police of the future will be a zucking machine, a little robot. They scan you on the street, and immediately the robot knows who you are and what you've been doing, and can probably do a pre-crime analysis right on the spot. So kind of connected to what I just said. And we are like not thinking ahead here, because technology is moving too fast. And in 20 to 30 years, what's going to happen is called the Singularity, which deserves its own live stream. The Singularity, which is predicted by Ray Kurzweil, who now works for Google. Ray Kurzweil wrote the book in the Singularity and predicted that is the time estimated to occur between the 2030s and 2040 to 2050 is the time when the computers will be smarter than people. This is why Musk has that neural net thing that he wants to embed in your brain. So that is really scary, that is what's projected to happen, and we are like not thinking about that and understand what happened historically. So I just want to make sure that we look back and examine history. And watching all this, to me, it started out with the Kardashians. The Kardashians started the thing of saying, well, if I show my entire life to the world, in their case, not on social media, but on TV, then you're going to get rich. You're going to be rich by showing your lives. You're doing reality TV. Reality TV was the stuff of the 2000s, and reality TV became the thing that's driving social media today, and this TikTok and and all the people trying to be famous on YouTube and so on, Instagram, and all this is happening because they saw that you can be rich based on what is being done by the Kardashians. So because of this desire to be rich, people are saying, hey, this is the way. So of course only a few people will become rich, just like if you're on TV versus those who are not. Only if you become movie stars, you can be an actress in LA, and you're not going to be employed. And a fraction of 1% will succeed, and they'll be famous. Same thing in social media, except that the attitude is, if you act like the Kardashians, you expose your life, that somehow you have a chance of getting rich. You can, all you have to do is make a YouTube channel, put in a couple of videos, and there's a chance that you're going to get viral. I'm going to tell you, it doesn't work like that. It does not work like that. It is hard work. You should see me try to get my first 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, and I already had 30,000 subscribers on Periscope and 7,000 on Twitter. I had a lot of big following, and still I couldn't get. It was so hard to get to the first 1,000 on YouTube. So I'm going to tell you, it's not an easy thing, but yet that's what we believe, and that's what drives this thing about, hey, we don't need to care about our privacy, because if you do not care about your privacy, you are going to be rich. So that's the status of the world today, and that drives this behavior that we don't really care about facial recognition. We don't really care about being chipped. As long as I make money, who cares? We don't really care that somebody may influence us and our choices and our vote, and may choose what we see and what we do and everything else. I really don't like that. Everyone has a right to believe what they want to believe, but if it's not organic, then it's being triggered by fake activities. It really bugs it, because it's manipulation, and it can happen on both sides. So it doesn't matter which side of the camp it is. It happens all the time, and I'm disgusted by some of it, and some of you. And I notice this. I go to Twitter, and people will post fake news all the time. Clearly fake news, but they want to believe it because they got triggered, and they post the fake news and say breaking news X, and it's like, it's obviously false. Breaking news X, because it's often you believe what you want to believe. So if it is in tune with what you believe, you're going to post it all over the internet, not knowing that that's actually a sign that you're being manipulated. Okay, you're being manipulated. That's why I don't participate in that. Okay, I don't participate in that. I don't show my politics, discuss politics, or show anything or post anything related to that on social media, because I know it's manipulation. So anyway, that's just my tips of today. Now, just a final point before I take your questions, and this is just a question that was asked to me. As you know, I have a BraxRouter, so that's one of my products, a BraxRouter, which a lot of you buy from me, and I appreciate that. Thank you. That is very helpful in sustaining this channel when you buy the BraxRouter. And some of you may not understand what the BraxRouter does, because some of you say, well, I'm going to go take my Asus router and install the VPN on it, and that's it. No, but the BraxRouter is a little bit different. The BraxRouter can work like a VPN that has a VPN client software. Some of them do now. Some do have that. But the BraxRouter is actually a full router, so it routes wired or Wi-Fi. So you can actually insert it in the middle of your network, and it can do wired. And what is interesting about that is a Wi-Fi, if you install a VPN, will only VPN the Wi-Fi portion, because they're not like real routers. They're not going to Wi-Fi the wired portion. So BraxRouter is really unique in that element. In fact, you can add other routers to it, other Wi-Fi routers to it, and do wired. Now, why wired? Wired gives you the option to plug in, of course. So you plug in, but a Raspberry Pi is a pretty small device. It is not very powerful as far as Wi-Fi. But if you hook up a wired network and then hook up as many routers as you want through the VPN side of the router, then you've actually VPN a whole section of your house. And as I told you earlier, somebody actually made a comment here that why have a VPN? What did the guy say? Why have a VPN? The VPN provider can spy on you. So I say to that guy, and I said it on my last broadcast, so what's your choice? So your choice is reveal your IP address with your location, with your real name based on your emails that are being captured, and have that sold. So then, and I call that the trifecta, because with those three, you're pretty much indexed everywhere on the internet. Your name, your email address, your IP address, your email address, and your location. And if that's a trifecta, if they have that, they have one of these, then they have everything. So if they have your email, they can get your location and your IP address. They have your IP address, they have your location and email. They have your location, they can get your IP address and email. So this is the trifecta, and it's like, once that's collected and sold, then you're actually so vulnerable because somebody can just cross-check that. And that's sold. Many companies sell that, including one of them is Skyhook, although many companies do this now, so I can't tell you who the biggest one is now. Back in the day, it used to be Skyhook. So if you think that you can get away with that, I mean, even a VPN company doesn't really have access to the two parts of the trifecta. A VPN company only has access to one, which is your IP address. They don't have access to everything else. So the data that's available to even a spying VPN is fairly minimal compared to what's visible across the internet if you don't have that. When you have a VPN, basically, because you've obscured your IP address, then the other two pieces of information become invalid. So they can't create an index because the IP address keeps changing or it's shared by too many people. And so therefore the data becomes disinformation. The purpose of a VPN is disinformation. So I just want to make sure that's clear. So a BraxRouter is able to go wired or wireless. It's in my video and you can see the distinction there. Wired or wireless, and it is not the same as doing an ASUS router or any of these other routers, because none of those can actually do a wired router, full VPN, or not a VPN. You can go Tor, you can go use it as a normal router. You don't even have to do any of that. And it actually protects your network because it creates a virtual network inside your network. Some of you were getting hacked, and you can't get hacked if you're inside an encrypted VPN network because the traffic is encrypted. So no one can just listen in. Somebody was saying he was being hacked in his house, and if you're on a VPN router, the traffic is encrypted, so you can't even hack it. So anyway, that's just to explain that, because I'm asked that so many times today, and so I just want to explain that. So anyway, I'm going to go to your questions here in a second. Again, I apologize for people. Many of you come to BraxMe and ask me questions, and maybe you don't realize this, so I'm going to make sure you do realize this, that I do get hundreds of messages from you every day, and I can't dedicate my time. Sometimes I have to give a kind of a short response because there's just too many people. So at some point, it's not going to be me anymore. I can't, there's enough traffic that I'm going to have to assign it to somebody else to go read it, because it's getting impossible. So I hope you realize that, and I prefer that you talk in the group chats on BraxMe so that others can help and some other people can give you an answer if I'm not around, because there's just so much limited time. And I'm sorry about that, but that's just the, the results of a growing channel. Sometimes you don't think about that, but that's the effect. So anyway, and by the way, again, to remind you, I have a new channel that is going to feature mostly sailing and prepping and ham radio and all that. And it's called Rob the Half-Baked Prepper. It's in the link is in the description. And there'll be, because a sailboat is kind of a unique craft and a vessel in a way, because it's completely independent. In a sailboat, not a powerboat, a sailboat can actually operate even without fuel. And if you have solar panels and all that, you can actually run pretty much independently for a very, very long period of time. So, you can even have a water maker and make your own water. So if you have food, you can actually survive in a sailboat for many, many months. And that's exactly what you see in some of these sailing videos. And because I'm not a cruiser, I'm not going to go out there. I'm a very experienced sailor. I've been sailing for a long time. And I did mostly yacht racing. So, but I'm not doing that now. What I want to do is focus on the things that actually make the sailboat more like a tiny house that's off-grid. So I want to focus on that side, about the off-grid nature of a sailboat, and that's what that channel is going to be about. If you're interested in that, or just want to see me do other things, you may want to subscribe to that channel. And I have the material for the videos. I haven't actually published a video yet, other than an old one I posted on there, but there will be more. There will be many coming, and I got things that are in the works already, because we're in the middle of installing different things, and some already have failed. I always get seasick puzzles. I do get seasick, and I found that ginger helps. So ginger candy. Also, there's a new thing where you dab peppermint on the back of your ear, and been testing that. That seems to work as well. But the ginger is really effective. So typically I do both. I take a ginger candy and then I dab peppermint, and then I'm okay. So and I've done offshore racing. It's really terrible when you get seasick, and I'm a very good sailor, but I get seasick. So anyway, you love ginger. Well, ginger is not good, but it's not, at least by itself. But ginger candy is a necessary thing that I have to take when I go on the boat. Debian repository is a program to design the sail for a sail replacement. Yeah, but I'm not going to go sew it. The other way to not get hacked: stay off the internet. Ginger tea is great. Now, I don't have time to make ginger tea, but yeah, I'm sure that will work too. You once ate a raw fish and got seasick. You get seasick every time you go to a sushi restaurant? Ginger and peppermint are not new. They're not new, but they don't work for all. So I'm glad to say that ginger works for me better than medication. So if I take medication, typically it affects me in some way. Some people fall asleep. I don't fall asleep with Dramamine, but I find I can't talk. It affects my muscles. So, especially my face muscles. So I can't talk. I can't do a video if I take Dramamine. Dramamine is very effective, but I can't talk when I take it. Yes, you have a nice sailboat. I'm kind of a ginger. Mel Gibson doesn't look like a ginger. Hot dogs are the most dangerous food on earth. Some websites block you if you use a VPN. That's correct. So we should find out who those websites are, like AT&T, Sephora, and so on, and Crate and Barrel and places like that, and stop using them because they're zocked up. If they don't care about your privacy, then we don't need to go to them. So if a YouTube video embedded on a website is played on the browser not dedicated for YouTube, does that mean the browser isolation failed? that doesn't mean anything. The browser isolation is not from the YouTube video itself, it's from the trackers that accompany it. So, yeah, just in general, trackers everywhere. It doesn't matter where. So once you've been fingerprinted, then you're kind of zucked because everything you do on the internet is then being attributed to you. So in order for that to happen, you have to have the infrastructure to do browser fingerprinting. In reality, only 2 companies have the capability for really detailed browser fingerprinting. And those 2 companies are my host, YouTube, Google, I mean, and the other one is Facebook. So I'm not on Facebook, so I'm actually immune from the browser fingerprinting from Facebook. So if you're not on Facebook, they can't really use that data. But most of the people in the world are on Facebook, so it's useful for all, for most. So for me, the issue is Google, and Google advertising is not part of Google activity controls. You can't actually stop that. So the only way around it is to trick it. So, and I will help you trick it some more in my next video. So on my next, I'm going to tell you what my next video is. Hope you watch it. My next video is using KVM, which is the Linux virtual machine. And so it means you have to shift to Linux completely. But it does have some advantages. So KVM, and use that for true virtualization. And then you can have as many identities as you want. As long as you have the disk space for it, you'll be able to create many, many identities using different virtual machines. And I'm going to show you how to set it up. And that'll be in my next video, which I'm already working on. So that is KVM. That'll be the next one. So it'll be very, very good. And I'll actually teach you how to do it. It's quite easy. But using it on a desktop, not as a server. You already use KVM, you don't even know it. But I'm talking about KVM as a desktop, which is something that many of us don't use. We use KVM on the server, we don't actually know how to use it as a desktop. So we're going to strategize how to use that, and that's going to be in the next video. Okay, favorite video distro is Artix. The problem with a distro that's not popular, if you get into some of these specialized distros like Arch, where, or even Postmarket OS, the distro may be great. The problem is that the browser fingerprint will be so unique because there's so few people using it. So you want to stick to a distro that's kind of like well used so that you don't stand out so much. And that's why I use Ubuntu. So some of you will say, well, I'll use Manjaro. Well, Manjaro is fairly popular, so you can use that too. But if you use some obscure, one of the worst ones is to say you're going to use Whonix and Cubes. And as secure as those are, the problem is the fingerprint. So because you get identified as being in this unique group that's trying to hide. So then, that alone is a marker. All of you who use like Privacy Badger on your browsers, and I used to, promote the use of Privacy Badger all the time. And the fact of the matter is, using Privacy Badger as an extension identifies the browser. So I've taken that out. I don't use that. I don't use LastPass or KeePass or any other password manager on the browser. I run it separately in an app. I don't use the browser extension for it because it identifies your machine and identifies you to be somebody who cares about security, which in a sense is already an identification. So you don't want to use that if you can. Okay, so Badger equals honeypot. All of these sound like spices Rob uses in his cooking. Well, I do cook. Do not use NoScript. No, don't use NoScript and Ghostery. No. You're fingerprinted already just by doing that. It's so rare. For example, NoScript or turning off JavaScript is so rare that you're going to be a handful in any area. They know your area, and you're going to say somebody from Los Angeles using no JavaScript, and they're probably going to say, "Oh, we found those 10 people." Then you're zucked. You're fingerprinted. So yeah. So use your password manager from some sort of app and not on the browser, because the browser is what's being used to fingerprint. Okay. I don't use any kind of ad blocking on the app because I do it from my VPN. If you have my VPN, Bytes VPN, you're actually getting ad blocking built in using Pi-hole. So Pi-hole is a great one for blocking advertising via DNS. It's kind of subtle. Okay, it's not that obvious. You cut off the ad company from the domain, and they don't even realize they're not on. They don't even pop up on the screen. So a lot of the browser fingerprinting actually terminate when you use my VPN, just because it uses Pi-hole, and Pi-hole then does not load a lot of the trackers, which means a lot of the browser fingerprinting doesn't actually even happen, but it can still happen. But using Bytes VPN, my VPN, actually already solves a lot of that. And Bytes VPN, by the way, is now offering servers in Europe, Australia, and India, and of course North America. So Bytes VPN can work for all of you, including the BraxRouter. Can work anywhere in the world, but now you can actually use it at high speed at all those locations I just mentioned. Europe, Western Europe, Australia, India, and North America. So, by the way, this broadcast is sponsored by Linode. So one of the things in my last video, let me see if I could, yes. So one of the things in my last video was I was talking about how you get private videos, and I told you the only way to get private videos is to set up your own video server. And some of you ask, how do you do that? And fortunately, there's an easy way to do videos for any group of people, and that is by having a Nextcloud server. So even if you don't actually store your files on a cloud Nextcloud server, you can actually use a Nextcloud server only for video using something called Nextcloud Talk. So that's one of the add-ons on it's actually built in. So you can do a chat with people in your Nextcloud. So all you have to do is have people install Nextcloud and give them the server address. Then you can actually do video, and you can run it from a phone or from a computer. And now, because the video is on your own server, then you never have to worry about the video being watched. So nobody will watch a video if you control the server. So instead of doing all these stupid things that are just not private, if it's running on your own server, your own Nextcloud, you can be naked on your Nextcloud video, and it's your server. So it's actually quite safe. So yes, the first time I've said this, you can actually do that on a Nextcloud server. So you can get a very inexpensive Nextcloud server, because you don't need a big machine. Even a small machine will handle it, from Linode. So Linode is my sponsor, and you can set them up for, some of these are $5 a month. Even a big server is $30 a month. A big one. Very reasonable. So, and they're running KVM. In case you forget, that's my next video. They're running KVM on there. So, yes. You're going to get a discount if you use my link here to set up your servers on Linode. Yeah, Nextcloud is just one of the possible servers. You can set up any kind of Linux server on Linode. And they've been around since 2005, even before Amazon AWS. And they're like all things Linux. They're just so big in Linux. Everything they do is pro Linux. So, and their prices are reasonable. Now, I'm telling you, I myself use Linode. I use many different data centers, because I have many servers, tons of servers, and I found that Linode is very, very competitive price wise, and they seem like good guys as well. So, and they're sponsoring my live stream. So I'm glad to be sponsored by a good company. So they seem to be good people. So I appreciate their sponsorship. Anyway, this program is also sponsored by Bytes VPN, which is me. I don't have to tell you that. If it's self-sponsored, then I can do whatever I want. So yes, this broadcast is also sponsored by Bytes VPN, BYTZ VPN.com, which is of course my VPN, and the link is in the description. If you got a thermal cam for a phone they hacked, they could see your junk. YubiKey still okay? I don't even use YubiKey, to be honest. If you watch my video, I mean, I raised some questions about using it. So it's not like, I showed you how to use it, but, there are some issues with using a YubiKey. So I really haven't used it. I still have it. Sponsors even now. I have a modem router combo. Do you sell them with a VPN? I have a modem router combo. I don't sell your modem router combo. So if you can install a VPN on it, you can use my VPN, yes. But I prefer to use my router. Is using public API for browsing YouTube good on privacy terms? If you're talking about like BitChute or NewPipe, yes, they're good for privacy because they spoof your identity. Not good for me, obviously, because I don't get the viewing counts and all that. But it's good for your privacy. So do whatever you need to do. It doesn't matter what effect it has on me. Is Tails OS okay on KVM? Well, I'm sure it will be. Anyone here interested in Librem laptops? I'm sure many have asked me about Librem laptops. Apparently there's a new one called Librem 13, which I haven't checked. I like the smash button. Thank you. Yes. If you like my videos, yes, smash the like button. I got one dislike on my face recognition video. I told you that people would dislike me because I spoke badly about Ring. So if you're a big Ring fan or you work for Amazon, you may not like it. And I was expecting a lot of dislikes on my facial recognition video. So far I've only had one dislike. So no one wants to admit they have a Ring camera. Zucking Ring camera. So change your name to Fake Dogs. What does that zucking mean? That was me. Sorry, I was drunk. Ring is amazing though. Okay, hey, you go use a Ring and just don't be in my neighborhood because you're gonna be like spy. Oh, by the way, I should if anyone wants to contribute their Ring camera to me so I can dismantle it, please send it over because I can make a video showing you how quickly I can hack Ring. Okay, so if I get close to your Ring, I can disable it so I won't show up on the video. You'll just see a gap. Okay? So you want me to prove that? Yeah, send me a Ring camera and then we'll test it out and I'll prove to you I can do that. So if you don't think I can do it, don't think I know how to hack, then yeah, just send me a Ring to my Braxmobile address and yeah, and then I may destroy it though, so don't send it to me with the expectation of getting it back. Just if you want to send me an Amazon Echo for destruction as well, would be nice too. Because I'm not gonna go buy an Amazon Echo unless I want to destroy it and just see what's going on in there. Okay, so if you're willing to dispose of one, yes, send it to me and we'll experiment with it. But not to send it to me for safekeeping. It will not be just got off my Ring camera. Yeah, you shouldn't be using those. It's like, why? You use an infrared flashlight? No. I have a new Echo 2, never opened. Well, I actually got exchange gift over Christmas. I got a Echo and I exchanged it for a restaurant gift certificate, so I didn't actually keep it. I should have kept it just so I can take it apart. So yeah, then I could have used it in video. But at the time I wasn't making a video, so I didn't know. But many of you probably want to dispose of your Echo, and because they're really useless. So and this is the time to go see exactly the kind of evil that is in Ring cameras and Echo. I use my Echoes to feed Amazon false information. You can just do that on Gmail. Just talk to yourself. Have 2 accounts on Gmail. Talk to each other and pass fake information all day. Can you do more how-to videos? I only do videos that people watch. Okay, if you don't watch them, then I don't do any more of them. Okay, so I did a lot of how-to on how to use Linux. Nobody watched it, so yeah. So I'm not going to be focusing on that. So I only do what you watch. So I mix it up. Some are how-to, some are things that are happening around us. A state of affairs, and some is to reveal technology that you don't know about, and especially to do with phones. So that unfortunately is the most popular topic. Anything to do with phones, and people watch it. So in some ways I have to do what you guys want to see. Hey, you doesn't. Okay, how did you learn to hack? Trapezi. You know what, Trapezi? I've been programming a long time. I actually saw the opening video to Titus Tech. Chris Titus is a good guy. He's been on my channel here and leaves comments, and he's a supporter of this channel, and he says very nice things. I was just curious though. He made a video talking about his life. Chris Titus has a very big channel now. His channel grew, and he's one of the most popular people doing Linux videos. And in one of his opening lines, it was just funny because I just think to myself, his opening lines was that he's been in tech for 20 years and has been doing tech for 20 years. So how many years have I been in tech? The problem is if I say how many years I've been in tech, it ages me, and then then I lose viewers because you think I'm too old. I think I started not tech but programming, specifically programming, probably longer than Chris Titus has been alive. So I hate to admit it, but I have been doing this longer than Chris Titus has been alive. So it's been a long time. I've been doing this a long time. And of course I started young. Still, and for most of that career that I've been doing programming, for maybe 80% of that time, my title has been president, vice president, or chief software architect. One of those 3. So I've always been at the top levels of what I do. So just and some of those companies have become big. So and are big. So what's a good book to learn fundamentals? It's hard for me to tell you because I did not learn that way. I learned by doing. Because I'm a programmer, I did things. I did it. Somebody says, how do you hack? Well, you practice with it and you learn every piece and you actually learn the code and you see how it works and say, oh, that's how it works. So let me use that. And, and I'm a C programmer, so I can do pretty much anything programming wise. There's nothing out of my reach because, I can program in C or even assembly language, but mostly C. So I'm pretty advanced. So nowadays I don't hardly program in C anymore unless I'm trying to fix something. Most of the time I program in PHP or Python because it's just faster. Because I don't need to make products anymore. I just do experimental stuff, and it's faster doing PHP and Python. Do you use Discord? Hell no. I use BraxMe. Brax me, guys. Oh, Discord. Why would you zucking go to Discord? Why? What's in Discord? What do you believe Discord offers you? Why do I need to be in Discord? I'm on BraxMe. BraxMe is my own platform. It's open source. It's free. And people will say, well, I don't like it, the interface. Well, you know, I look at some of these programs and the interface doesn't impress me either. So it's like each to his own. Zuck Discord. Yeah, Zuck Discord. So yeah, if you want to go to Discord, go to Discord. I'm not going to be there. Just like saying I don't want to be on Facebook. You'll never find me on Facebook. I don't have a Facebook account. BraxMe has a lot of users now. It's kind of like hidden away, you know, for many years. It's kind of like quiet because I haven't really promoted it. I didn't have money to promote it. And it's really, filled with the people from here, from my channels, from both here and Library. By the way, I'm on the Library platform. So, and there's a link in the description to join me there as well. And I actually post there before I post here on YouTube. I don't post the live streams on Library. Found it, is that a past tense for find? Thank you, Tim Taylor. Rob Brax plays on sax while doing tax. I promote it without trying. It's encrypted. What is encrypted? I hope you're not saying Discord is encrypted. It's like Zuck you. Of course not. Will VPN bring PUBG back to life? I have no idea. Live on Brax or live on Brax? Do you know Invidious? No. Zuck or Zuck? No, I do not know who Invidious is. Is that some sort of rapper? I have no idea. I'm too old to know. If I ever find good company, I'll be rich. Okay, so anyway, yeah, so come join us in BraxMe. And it is, first of all, it's encrypted. And actually, you don't have to worry about BraxMe if you use your real name, not your real name, post your real picture, not. The reason is you can't Google it. BraxMe is not a Googleable platform. And you can have private conversations that are completely encrypted and no one's going to see it. Or you can talk in the public areas. And again, we don't force any identity on you. And as much as, you know, programs like Telegram and Signal are good. I mean, they do encryption to some degree. And, well, Signal does more encryption than Telegram. But they do encryption and they care about your privacy and all that. The problem is that Telegram and Signal both require your phone number. BraxMe doesn't require anything. It doesn't require any identity. Yes, you do have to sign up, but aside from asking you to set up a username, that's it. So nobody forces you to do anything on BraxMe. Now, you can add your email and all of that later if you want, but nobody forces you to. You don't have to post your picture. I do prefer you post some picture, but it doesn't have to be you. I mean, it can be the sky, the dog, your sailboat. I don't really care. You can do that. But something to remember you by so that we, because everybody is called anonymous. I don't know why, but everyone goes on BraxMe with the name anonymous. After you have 500 people called anonymous talk to you, I don't really know who I'm talking to anymore. So when people change names, then it's really hard. So use a picture so we can at least recognize if I've talked to you before. They can still find you on IRC if you go to a certain place. Well, will Trump pardon Snowden? It's a good question, Dizzy Spider, because what is he being accused of now that the appeals court has said that he's actually right, that the NSA was operating outside of the law. So he's a real whistleblower now, according to that. Thank you so much, Mickey Leaks. Thank you so much, my friend. Good to see you, my friend. And by the way, Mickey Leaks, the VPN, my VPN now works in India. So something you can try. Are AdGuard products a good recommendation for privacy? Just don't use extensions in a browser because they're too obvious. They actually identify you. So if you're going to use an ad blocker, do it from the app side or Pi-hole or from the DNS side. using Pi-hole, rather than on a browser. Try to keep your browser as generic as possible without any kind of extensions. A channel, if they want, broke his clearance rules. You need a court to tell you that Snowden was right. Come on, people. Well, great goal. It is what it is. So yeah, it is, and he basically gave up his life, or what was his life, his good life, for a tough life, so that we, all of us, become aware of the privacy dangers in the world. And think about, no one would listen to me if there's no Snowden, because they would think I'm lying. So because of Snowden, I can say, see, I'm right. So it's really important to have a Snowden. So I'm voting for Snowden. Correcting in videos is an alternative front end to YouTube. Oh, is that what in videos is? Oh, instead of new pipe? Because I thought normally on Android you use new pipe from F-Droid store. That's your YouTube client. Is it possible to install Tor browser on a Raspberry Pi for running Kali Linux? Well, obviously yes, but you would run Raspberry Pi 4 as your desktop, kind of slow. So I recommend just using it my way, where I put in a Tor or VPN router on the Raspberry Pi 4, and then you use another computer to access it using any browser. If you want to use Tor, you can do that, and do it externally, and then go through the Tor router. So it's a little bit well, for one, it's faster if you're using a VPN, and offers you more flexibility. Have you ever had encounters with sharks from sailing? Actually, no. No, I've seen whales and dolphins and all the time. Obviously seals and so on. But the only shark I've seen was actually this big. I've never actually seen a big shark. And I've been in the ocean a lot. I have never seen a big shark. So, I'm on the ocean all the time. In fact, several times a week. But I guess they don't hang out where I hang out. Thank you, Chris, Mr. P. What about Orbot? Orbot is good. Orbot is official from Tor. Any mermaid? I thought that was Mermaid OS because you capitalized it. How far have you sailed? I only sail coastal, but I've gone far, all the way to Mexico. So, like 3 days along the coast, that kind of distance. That's probably as far as I've gotten. But I did it a lot. So, yeah, like 3 days of racing along the coast. One way. I agree, shady stuff with Snowden, but what he did should be what? Get some shark spray. I swam with sharks that were greater than 10 feet. Sharks are harmless animals. Well, obviously I've seen sharks at the aquarium, big ones even, but I have never come close. First of all, I don't dive, so I'm not going to go inside the water. So they may be underneath, but I'm only on the boat. What I'm saying when I don't see sharks is I've never seen a shark fin approach nearby and do, like a Jaws thing, and where I have to play this Jaws music. I've never experienced that. But I guess if you dive, you'll probably see the sharks below. I have never seen that because I don't dive. I like the comfort of watch my videos on that new channel, which is Rob the Half-Baked Prepper, there's a link in my description. Follow that, subscribe to that channel. I'm going to post sailing videos and boat fixing and all that. And, things like that, like doing various kinds of fixing to make the boat kind of off-grid. Sailboat's already somewhat off-grid. I'm going to make mine really off-grid. So by doing a lot of these things, I can make it completely off-grid. Maybe Rob needs glasses. Sure. Pirates can be dangerous. Any animal is harmless until you piss it off. Okay? I felt a shark egg once. That boat gets going very fast. My boat doesn't go very fast. Boats are very slow. Just seems fast because there's a lot of waves. How long are you, Mel? How long are you, Mel? I know Apple is tracking you, but if used an iOS device without an Apple ID, is that more private while using an iOS device? No. Hell no. First of all, how do you get away with not using an Apple ID? You can't even do anything then. So you can't even install any app. So what are you using the phone for if it doesn't have an Apple ID? Okay, so then the moment you use the browser and your browser fingerprinted and your location is being tracked, by Apple, and they have the serial number. So they may not know your name, but they know the serial number of your device, and that's what it's been doing. So no. So the best way is to have a device that doesn't have that 24/7 tracking. That's why I sell the Google phones. It doesn't have that part. A Google phone doesn't have that 24/7 tracking that is built in to Google apps, Google services. It's not part of AOSP, Android open source. It's not in there. So, and there's no alternative to iOS. So iOS has it, can't take it out. But on Google, if you install AOSP, and that's what the phones I sell in my store, then it doesn't have that. In my store, I have new phones. Not a lot of stock yet, but it's, I'm shifting as I get stock. I have Pixel 3s. Pixel 3s are more expensive though. So depending on how much I can get them for, if I got a small amount of it for fairly inexpensive price, and I'm selling them for $389. But they're expensive phones. They were $799 brand new, and they're still they're only they're 2018. They're not that old. So yeah, so Pixel 3s, which I can get more of, G7 Plus, because it's hard to get a G7 now. So G7 Plus I can get. They're a little bit more expensive as well, but they're only GSM. It only works with AT&T and T-Mobile and international. It works for international. And then the other one I can get is a OnePlus 6. Now, I can't get a lot of OnePlus 6s, but you can send them to me. I can do it for you. So OnePlus 6, Pixel 3, G7 Plus have been added to my store. So those three phones are things I can do. So if you have them, I can do them for you. Do Facebook, and I hate a G7 for. I have a G7 for Cricket only. Yep, now works with Cricket. Yes, I got a G7 rather easily. Did something happen only recently with them? Yeah, G7s are hard to get now. I guess they're running out. Maybe I bought them all. I don't know. I bought a lot of G7s. So, I have some G7s still, but, I can only get a few a week. I can't get the numbers I was getting before. So I have to get different phones now. So unfortunately, the other phones are more expensive. So Pixel 3s are nice. Pixel 3s, although they're nice, to be honest with you, and that's what I use now, it's Pixel 3. It's my personal phone is now a Pixel 3. The thing about a Pixel 3 is that a lot of them have LED screen burn, and pretty much all of them have some sort of screen burn if they're used, and that's because they're so bright. So if you get one with a little bit of screen burn, it's a minor thing, but it's just the fact is most of them have that, and it's really hard to find them without a screen burn. They'd have to be almost new, in which case the price is like much more. So I'd be selling you a 400 plus phone if I just chose one without screen burn. It doesn't have much effect, so we're just gonna have to live with that. Otherwise it's a very nice phone, and a Pixel 3 is waterproof. So a Pixel 3 is equivalent to the iPhone 10. So if you have an iPhone 10, the Pixel 3 was supposed to be competing with that. So it's a very good phone still. So yeah, it's very competitive to the iPhone 10. The camera is very, very good. G7 Plus is also very nice. It's actually nicer and faster than a G7. It's also more expensive. The problem is it's GSM only. It doesn't work with Verizon. So G7 Plus does not work with Verizon. So it's very hard to find Verizon phones. On the other hand, maybe we should avoid Verizon anyway because they're zucked up. But some of you have no choice. So if you have to use Verizon, then you're kind of stuck with using a Pixel or a G7 if you can find one. Okay, I still have G7s, and Verizon only works on one model of the G7, the one with a -1, and those are the ones that are getting hard to find, and you can't find them new anymore. So the -1s, I can still find the -6, the international version, new, but I can no longer find the -1s new. So yeah. So anyway, that's just Sharks Hate Linux. Is Android work profile good for data isolation? Any profile is not good. What does... Okay, there's a little bit of a story in this Calyx OS because apparently, this is the hearsay, is that the most popular video for Graphene OS was made by Techlore. I heard this from the grapevine, okay? I don't watch Techlore, so I don't know what he does. So anyway, I think I did see the video on him installing Graphene OS on a Pixel 3a. I have not successfully installed Graphene on a Pixel 3, so I'm not even going to bother. So anyway, some of you here are part of there's like a hardcore group of people trying to push graphene on everyone. And it's like an aggressive little group of people, and they're like turning me off and turning other people off because they're like aggressive. It's kind of like a cult. And I've been telling you that I don't care if you use graphene or E or standard AOSP or Lineage, because some of what they say is kind of fake news. And I want to make sure that you understand that Lineage OS or AOSP without gaps is equal to the security of a standard Android. Okay? So if you have Android 10, whether it be AOSP or Lineage OS, it's equivalent in security with SE Linux on it and verified boot and all that. It's the same, and depending on the phone, you can even lock the bootloader. Like you can lock a bootloader on a OnePlus, like a OnePlus 6, you can relock the bootloader. So if you have a Lineage OS, you basically don't have any less security than an Android. So Google is using that level of security. Now Graphene comes around and saying, well, Graphene is like outstanding, is better. All of these other things are junk and they're not secure and all that. Yeah, but Graphene only works on an expensive phone, and it's to be claiming that Lineage OS and all these are crappy OSs because they're not the equivalent of Graphene is like false, because Lineage OS and all this are about the same as the security of Android, except for the secure boot portion, which is one of the claims to fame of Graphene, is that they do secure boot, which I'm telling you right now is not an issue, because the worst case that can happen to you on a AOSP phone is you lose your data. So no one can take your data, because if they try to infiltrate you by loading some other thing on there, like replacing the bootloader, then the data gets erased, so they don't get any data anyway. So, for example, law enforcement isn't going to say, well, we're going to go take your phone and and install some other OS on there so we can steal your data. Because when they do that, they wipe out your data. So it's equivalent security. Now, Graphene says that they have some extra things on there, and for that reason that you should use Graphene. Well, that's fine. That's an acceptable statement. And if in fact you believe that they have extra stuff, then it's like extra on top of what Android provides, and it's okay. That's fine. If you believe that you need to do that, you need to do that higher level of security, not privacy, security. Then it's okay. Now I am more privacy. The security of Android is fine with me because I don't really need to store data on the phone. There's nothing secret I'm trying to put on the phone. So because of that, I don't care. So anyway, I heard that Techlore, and I don't know if this is true, but I heard that Techlore kind of get irritated with the spam he's getting from the Graphene people, just like I'm getting spam from Graphene people. It's kind of irritating, to be honest. And so Techlore started promoting Calyx OS. So that's where the link is to Calyx OS. So what does Calyx OS offer? It's just another AOSP with no gaps. So again, if you want to use it, you can use it. If you don't want to use it, you don't have to use it. As far as I'm concerned, if you use AOSP with no gaps, you're fine. Preferably with a Android 9 or 10. Probably not Android 8. Android 9 or 10. Android 8 wasn't that secure. So Android 9 or 10, and preferably Android 10 if it's available, then you'll be good. But do I care? Again, if you're at the same level of security as a standard Android, where most of the world is on the standard Android, you're saying you got to be better than the standard Android people. Well, that's great, but the world survives with a standard Android, so I think you're going to survive. You will live on a standard Android AOSP with no gaps security-wise, because otherwise then no Android would have survived now if this is truly such a big issue. So operationally speaking, it's not a big deal. If you're hiding secrets on your phone where you don't want somebody to steal it, yes, you may want to get the more expensive one and put extra precautions, in which case then you may think about hardening your phone even more. So if you want to harden your phone because that's your line of business, then yeah, that's logical. You can do that. And that's probably good for you. But I don't need you to say that, you have to spend money on an expensive phone. As far as I'm concerned, if you spend money on an inexpensive phone and you Google it for half price or less, then you're protecting yourself from a privacy side. And that's, more than we can ask for. They can shut off your water and find out where you live, and they will throw rocks at your house and spray paint. I don't know what you're talking about there. All my friends are black hat hackers. Wow. What kind of friends do you have? Biscuit, listen or leave. You are hacked. YouTube, you are hacked. Who's the weirdo? He's not a weirdo here. I'm good friends with them. They are my best friends. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, we got a weirdo here. So anyway, by the way, if you been enjoying watching my channel, you may want to hit that like button, because the enemy is the algorithm. So the algorithm decides if what I say gets watched by other people. The algorithm decides if they want, my words are shared or not. And if you want my words shared, please support the channel by subscribing and hitting the like. So the algorithm decides that they want to make money. The only purpose of the algorithm is to make money for YouTube. So if they can make money by seeing that you hit like and you subscribe to the channel, then they respond by saying, okay, we're going to make money from this, so let's share. They don't even care what I talk about. Not only are they good at hacking, but they're strong as heck too. What the zuck? All chat Gmail ID is my... You are over 100 likes. That is not good. No. As you will find, a typical live stream has, close to 1,000 live viewers, close to 1,000 live viewers on a typical live stream. And so that's 10% giving a like. So yeah, very few of you hit like. So especially even if you watch a replay, you don't hit like. So yeah, please do. Brax, do the KVM video tonight. Actually, I'm already working on a KVM video, but I only release it on Wednesday on Library and Thursday on YouTube. Only 5kx more to go. Do the KM what should we do about Wi-Fi triangulation and BLE tracking when going to work or school? If you have a de-Googled phone, then they are not going to be tracking you. Okay, de-Googled phone is the only answer at the moment, realistically. Okay, so even the Linux Gamer did a review of the Dogwood release of the Librem 5, which I still don't have my evergreen edition of the Librem 5, and it's good. I don't want to get a buggy one, and it's still not really running, so it's not completely running yet. So given that, until that's running, we only have one option, and the only option is a de-Googled phone. Otherwise, I'm going to tell you Linux and de-Googled phone. But it would be dishonest of me to tell you to go around and buy one of those until they figure out all the major issues. The bigger remaining issues are stability on the phone calling, because it's unstable. Secondly, the power management, it's still not getting beyond 6 hours, and then camera still doesn't work. The camera I can live without if they can get those first two going. The power management is the biggest one. So I'm even willing to sell Pine phones with as an LTE router, VPN router that I can make, and I can't do it because of the power problem. I want it to last more than 6 hours. So until they solve that, then we just wait a moment. Okay? So do you recommend Protogen? I do not recommend the use of any Zaki antivirus. If I were you, I wouldn't use any. By the way, I'm running out of time, but I'm going to tell you a little secret here. Okay, just to show you. One of the ways you're hacked and your traffic investigated and seen is by installing a root certificate on your computer. So in corporations, they actually install software, or they said install this, and you install it on your computer and you don't even know what it does. And one of the things they do is install a fake root certificate on your computer, and what that does then is allows the corporation to watch your traffic, because they have the private key to that public certificate you have on your phone. So a public root certificate allows you to encrypt, and then the other side can decrypt. So and the other side will have their own version of google.com, facebook.com, and all that. So because of that, they can actually watch your traffic on Facebook, on Google, or whatever else, even if you're using TLS or HTTPS. So when your traffic is supposedly encrypted, it's not actually encrypted. It's somebody puts a fake root certificate on your computer. Well, zucking Avast is an example of this. And I've shown you a video of this before. If you install Avast, it actually installs a fake root certificate. Their argument, and some of these other antivirus say that, their argument is they want to watch for phishing by looking at the HTTPS traffic to see if you're getting phished. But to put somebody's root certificate on your phone, meaning if somebody has the private key of Avast, they can actually watch everyone's traffic unencrypted if you install Avast. And that's true of any other app that does this. So some of the other antivirus may do this. It's crazy stuff. Okay? So any one of these apps with phishing, like Symantec and all that, the way they will do that is to install a fake certificate. Now, I haven't tried any other antivirus, so I can't tell you if the rest of them do that. But Avast, I specifically, ran and looked at the fake root certificate. And that's easily checked for, and I can see it, and it's like it's zucking crazy that they do this, and we let them do this. And so if you work at any company, somebody will install a fake root certificate. And if you don't know this, you can actually install a fake root certificate yourself and spy on your own traffic. Some of you say, well, how do I know if your computer or my phone is transmitting data to Google? Very easily. Install MITM proxy. Maybe I need to make a video about that. MITM proxy allows you to install a fake certificate on your device, and then you can watch the HTTPS traffic unencrypted as you go through MITM proxy app, because the MITM proxy has the private key to the root certificate you just put in, and you can actually watch all the traffic back and forth and see who's talking to whom. And you can see all the secret codes if there's malware going in and out and all that. You can see that with MITM proxy. And again, the trick is the HTTPS fake certificate. So that's a tip for you, so you understand that. And every hacker knows this. It's nothing new, but some of you may not understand how this is used. And this is actually how they do MITM attack when you're Starbucks. I'm going to have you click on something that installs a fake root certificate, and then I can watch your banking. Then you are zucked. Okay? I have you click something. Nothing happens because there's no actual malware. I just install a fake certificate, which on Windows is simply installing something in the zucking registry. It's not a big deal. Easy to do. Okay? I can write a program that can write to the registry. So I can write the certificate in the registry and you're zucked. I can make any program that can write to the registry. Suck, you write to the registry and, there you go. Same with Linux. You put it in, etc., keys, private, stick something in there, a CRT file, certificate, and then, put a different root in there, and then you're zucked. Okay, so, so just so you understand that. So, okay, so understand what it means to have a antivirus, because it does have effect on what you're giving them access to. In fact, any app could install a fake certificate if you don't know what the app does. A fake root certificate. Any app can do that. So some malware will just do that, install a fake root certificate, and that's it. And there's nothing obvious to you except somebody can read all your traffic. So the corporation you work for, they do that intentionally so that the Blue Coat Systems machine later on can watch all your traffic. So they will do that intentionally. And since it's your employer and IT said, install this, you're not going to go argue or you will lose your job. So you install it. Well, you've been zucked. So I'm going to tell you right now, if you do that, you need to watch my next video on KVM virtual machines. And that's how we're going to solve that. Okay? So, okay. So anyway, guys, I'm out of time and I'm going to go sailing tomorrow. And maybe record some video and I'll put it in my new channel, Rob the Half-Baked Prepper channel. So if you want to, if you're interested in what I do on the sailboat, even if you're not interested in sailboat, it's just interesting because like I said, it's like an off-grid house. I'm going to be doing things there, gadgets, that allow it to function as an off-grid shelter. So that'll be in my channel, Rob the Half-Baked Prepper. So follow that if you want. If you don't, then if you're not interested in that and you're only interested in tech stuff, it's a different kind of tech because it's more hands-on. So I install a lot of, electrical things. And if you're a sailor, you kind of have to know how to do everything. Fix engines, do electrical work, do solar panels, and, do fiberglass, do painting. We do everything on the boat. So I've installed everything on there. So I've done so many in the last few months and I've never made a video. So I said, I'm going to make a video now. Okay, so follow that if you're interested. And it's not for making money, so I don't care if you don't want to follow, because it's not for me to make money. It's just if you're interested in what I do. So if you're interested, go in there and watch, and you'll see. We'll insert a bit of actual sailing in there. So Sailboats use solar power. No, no, correction. Sailboats can use solar power. Can use. I don't have solar power installed at the moment because I have dock power. However, I do have solar panels. I got everything. So, so we're gonna go figure it out because it's kind of a small version of a house. You can do everything without having to go get a permit. You can do anything you want on the boat. No, you don't need a permit. So it's a safe place to try everything, like circuits and all that. Okay. So yeah. So track it, and I'll show you what I'm going to do with that. I probably have to start with a video on measuring the power usage, because I have autopilot and some of this refrigeration, and it's probably good to know what my power usage is, and then based on that track how much battery and solar I would need. I'm already running lithium-ion batteries on it, so too bad I didn't make a video of it, but it's already there. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. It's been fun, and again next week, if you're interested, watch my KVM video. I'm gonna make a video on KVM. So some of you are like saying, boring, we don't know what KVM is. Well, a lot of you know what KVM is. But some of you say, well, I've heard of KVM, but I don't know how to use it. So we'll show you. It's actually pretty simple, but you'll get a practical use of it for privacy. Not for running servers, but for privacy. So, okay. So, thank you guys. And I'll see you next week. And of course, for those of you celebrating Labor Day on Monday, have a great holiday weekend. Doesn't the world celebrate that? But I don't know if they celebrate it as September 1 or the first Monday. So I don't know if it's this world thing because it's been moved. But typically I see like September 1 as like in Russia, that's when they parade all the weaponry. It's on Labor Day. So I don't know. I don't know if Labor Day is the same the rest of the world. You tell me. You tell me. But in any case, I will see you with a video on Wednesday on Library and Thursday on YouTube. And thank you very much, guys. I'll talk to you soon. Catch me on brax.me. See you later. Bye-bye.